So far we've had some practice writing some summaries of fiction. Today we're going to talk about writing a summary of nonfiction, how that might be slightly different. So things to think about: what is a summary, what makes a good summary, and how can you write a summary of nonfiction. Let's talk first about what is a summary. Choose A, B, C, or D. Is a summary all of the ideas from a text written in your own words? Is a summary your opinions about a text? Is a summary a shortened form of the text with all the main ideas? Or is a summary a review of a text with main ideas and your opinions? Pause the video and make a choice. The answer is C. A summary is a shortened form of a text with all of the main ideas. Remember that a summary should always be objective. You're just retelling the facts and you're not inserting your own opinion. So there shouldn't be any personal pronouns that are first person, I, me, we, us, or second person, you. It's all about writing what's in the text. But of course, a summary needs to be shorter than the original. You're taking just the main ideas. Why do we write summaries? We talked about this a little bit last week, because there are often instances where we need to take information and shorten it down. Sometimes we write summaries to let someone else know the main ideas of a thing. Sometimes we write summaries because it actually helps us to understand it better. When we figure out the most important ideas, our brains are engaged in understanding the text and processing the information that is there. In fact, writing summaries is something that's really good for you to do in your science classes, your history classes, your math classes. It's a way of taking all the information that you learn and boiling it down to the most important parts, which makes it easier for your brain to process and remember. Of course, another reason you write summaries is just because it's an assignment at school. But hopefully you recognize that those assignments at school do have a broader purpose. You'll also see summaries on tests, and particularly in our end-of-level testing, there'll often be questions that will ask you about the central idea of a text or the supporting ideas for a central idea. Being able to pick out those main parts of a text is an important reading skill. How long should your summaries be? Well, it depends on how long the thing is that you're summarizing, really. So looking at the original text, you know that your summary should for sure be shorter. I always think about, if I'm summarizing a paragraph, my summary should be about a sentence. If I'm summarizing a page or two, my summary should probably be about a paragraph. Here are some things that make for a good summary. First, of course, you need to include the important ideas from the text. Second, you need to put those ideas in your own words. Make sure you're paraphrasing. There should be no direct quotes in a summary. We've gotten really good at citing text evidence, but in summaries, we don't do that. We're just retelling information in our own words. We want to leave out the little details or things that are repeated, and we want to retell the information in the same structure that the text is written in. So first, let's look at including the important ideas from the text. It's easy to say, but sometimes it's hard to do. So when you're reading, it's important to think about what ideas are most important to the author. Here's an example text. Many butterflies depend on certain plants to survive. As adults, butterflies drink nectar, but caterpillars eat leaves. Some caterpillars only eat the leaves of specific plants. Monarch caterpillars, for example, eat only milkweed. If butterflies cannot find the food source they need for their eggs, the next generation will not survive. When habitats are changed, such as when wetlands are drained or forests are cleared, butterfly populations may drop dramatically. According to the Xerces Society, an invertebrate conservation group, over 50 kinds of U.S. butterflies are at risk. So what ideas are important in this text? Even though you might have some personal connections to some of the ideas, you need to think about what's important to the author. Look for your topic sentences and big ideas. Here we have the topic sentences in white and some of the big ideas in white. If you look at it, these really are the big ideas in the text, that many butterflies depend on certain plants to survive. Some caterpillars only eat the leaves of specific plants. And if butterflies can't find their food source, their next generation will not survive. And that many butterflies are at risk, over 50 kinds. So how do you find the important ideas? Think about looking at topic sentences. Think about looking at how the text itself is broken up into chunks. And think about what you think is important for summarizing. What are the main ideas? Moving on to the next thing, make sure you're putting ideas in your own words. So we call that paraphrasing. Instead of just copying down the author's words, we need to use our own words. One strategy you might use is to just write keywords as you're taking notes in a text, and then rebuilding new sentences with your own words. Let's do a little practice. Many butterflies depend on certain plants to live. How could you paraphrase this sentence from the text in your own words? One hint to use is to try using synonyms for important words. And also try changing the order of the words in the sentence. So instead of many butterflies depend on certain plants to survive, I could say butterflies need specific plants to survive. There's one way to paraphrase, using synonyms, changing up the order a little bit. There's some words that you can't change when you paraphrase because these are key words that are important in the passage. For example, in the passage that we read, the words butterfly and caterpillar shouldn't be replaced. Next, as you're writing your summary, you want to leave out the little details or things that are repeated. Small details can be called trivial details. They might be interesting, but they're not important to the main ideas. We don't have to include all of the small details in a summary. What small details do you notice in this text? Things like examples. The example supports the main idea, but it's not a main idea itself. Or things where additional information is given, like this little bit about the Xerxes Society, which is an invertebrate conservation group, not really important to the main idea about butterflies. Sometimes authors might repeat ideas as well, and if a same idea is restated, you only need to include it once in your summary. Lastly, think about ordering the information in the same order or structure of the text itself. Some different kinds of texts will give description, some will describe cause and effect, some are done in chronological order. That's usually what we're doing with a narrative. We're telling the events of the book in order. Sometimes the text is written with a problem-solution focus, or sometimes it's comparing and contrasting different things. When you look at the structure of a text, you can find the big ideas and see how to organize your summary a little bit easier. What's the text structure here? This is a cause and effect. We talk about the cause, butterflies needing certain plants to survive, and the effect if they can't find those plant sources. So, your 4 rules for writing a good summary when it's nonfiction. Include the important ideas from the text, put the ideas in your own words, leave out the little details and repeated information, and use the text structure of the text itself. So, take a look back at the butterfly text. Can you write a good summary? Pause the video, write your summary. It should be just a couple of sentences with the length of the text you were given. So check through your summary that you've written. Make sure that you have the main ideas in there about butterflies needing certain plants to survive, and that if they cannot find those food sources, they will be at risk and will not survive. Those main ideas should for sure be in your summary. Tomorrow we're going to do some practice with a full-length article about 9/11 and Afghanistan.